to In This Season podcast, where we unpack the most empowering conversations, have exclusive and inspirational interviews, and host special events. Join Tammy, some call her Butterfly, and explore life's purpose by learning how to embrace each season of your life with confidence, strength, and purpose. Whether you're blooming in the spring, or shining in the summer, or embracing change in the fall, or gracefully hibernating in the winter, get ready to be inspired. Join us right here on this season of In This Season podcast with your host, The Butterfly. It's time, no matter what season it is.
Good morning, good
Welcome
morning, good
to
morning,
In This
beautiful
Season
people.
podcast,
How is it
where we
going?
unpack the most
I need to
empowering.
turn it off. There we go. How's it going, B?
Good morning. Good morning. It's going good. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. So, how was your yesterday? I see we got some people already in and commenting. So, how was your yesterday as I get this Instagram set up for the great people? Good morning to Facebook and YouTube listeners.
You look nice, Mama.
I do.
Yeah, I like that. I like the. Is that a blazer? Looks good on you.
It's a sweater, man. They
It's
like
a
to
sweater.
froze. Yeah, it's a little sweater thing because where I am, they are freezing me. Like I had my socks and everything yesterday, y'all. It was just kind of crazy, but it's all good. It's all good. But I'm okay. But thank you for the compliment.
Yeah, looks good. Looks good.
It says the stream is already live. YouTube is already live. I mean, there we go. There we go. Sorry about that. I was clicking on the wrong one. But thank you, Brandon. Yeah, I feel very, very rested. I went back to my good old magnesium lotion. Is that what it is, Brandon?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I used it last night, and so it always makes me just sleep so deep. I woke up like 1:30 thinking it's time to get up because of how deep it makes you sleep. So I'm feeling rested this morning and ready for the day.
You know what? With me last night, there was a mosquito in the room, or a mosquito or two that was in the room. So I was going to sleep, and then all of a sudden I would hear the little buzzing, little bzzz, little sound like the high pitch one. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not the one that's a fly. It's the one that you know is a mosquito. So
Mm-hmm.
when I popped up ready, like, oh my goodness, there's a mosquito in here, and then couldn't really go back to sleep. So I was up a little bit last night,
Oh
a little
wow.
paranoid of a little itty bitty mosquito. But you know what? We still made it. So got my coffee in one hand, my water in another. So I'm good. I'm ready to go.
Ready to go too. So
I'm ready to go.
let's do it. Let's see who's in with us. Big Mike says, good morning. Auntie Richetta, good morning, Butterfly and nephew. We got the two hearts today. I told you I'll be missing my kisses, Auntie Richetta. I want a kiss. Miss Brenda says, great everything. I'm sorry. Great everything, everybody. Happy Wednesday. It is hump day. So, yes, you guys, happy Wednesday. Mark Walker is in the house all the way from the V Town. He says, morning, morning.
Good morning.
Auntie
Good
Richetta
morning.
says, your beautiful niece. Love you. Thank you, Auntie Richetta. Thank you. Thank you. I'm still waiting on you to book that train ride down here. Come on. Come on. Absolutely. I actually need you here. Got some
Yeah.
things. So, all right, Brandon, how was your yesterday?
Me? Oh, my yesterday was great. My yesterday was great. Actually, I did something really cool. I was thinking about the friend thing, and you know what I decided? I was like, I wanted to, there's this fine line that you tote as a parent, right?
Mm-hmm.
As in wanting to be friendly, but also at the same time being a parent, right? And so, I think a lot of times, I make sure that I'm a good parent, that they know what's right and what's wrong. But yesterday, I wanted to be a superhero. So my daughter and my lovely wife, my son, they went to the gym, and the gym that we have actually has it's like a workout gym in Germantown. They have a space for the kids to basically like a daycare while the parents are working out. And you can stay there, up to 2 hours at a time. And so while I was out teaching my jujitsu class, my daughter and my son and my wife were at the gym. The kids were in the daycare. And so upon me leaving, I talked to my family and I heard my daughter say, where's my starry? You know what, the starry
Yes.
teddy bear that she has, right? And so she had left her starry at the gym and they were already on the way home. And the daycare had ended, right? So the daycare had ended and they were opening back up, I think at like 2 or 4 or something like that. And so I was like, you know what? Well, at first I was like, well, babe, we're just gonna have to go tomorrow and see if it's there, right? And so what I did is I kind of switched some things up and what I was gonna do, and decided to, when they did open back up, I said, you know what? Nope, I'm gonna go pick up my daughter. I was already out. I was like, I'm gonna go pick up my daughter, just me and her. We're gonna go to the athletic club. We're gonna go in there and we're gonna pick up that star.
Wow.
And so we went back over there, just me and her, just got in the car. And it was after a little, a couple, like an hour or two or something, a couple hours maybe. And then when they opened back up, and I told her on the way over there, I was like, letting her know that we were going to get starry. And it was cute. She told me I was a superhero. That we went over there and got started. We had a good time doing it. It was just a little cute one-on-one thing. And then, of course, you get one, you got to make sure you get the other. So I went home and got Tupac, my son, and I needed to get some wood from Home Depot. And so he and I got Katsali dropped off. She was a little sleepy, and then got him. And instead of going in the car this time, of course, being a boy, he wanted to go in the truck. So got the car seat out, put it in there, and then we went to Home Depot. And on the way back, he said, "You the best daddy in the world." He's only 3 years old. So
Oh,
that just, my eyes watered up, my heart got big, and so it was just a good day of establishing, you know, I won't say a friendship, but just
connection.
uh, a more, I mean, not establishing. I already had,
Yeah, I
connection, but
mean
just
more
really, really creating a like
relationship.
some intimacy and compassion
Yeah,
for the kids, because sometimes that little story might be a small thing to us, but to them it's the whole world,
yeah,
right? And sometimes it's okay to just care about what they care about.
yeah.
And so if it meant so much to her, and she was actually cool. She was like, she cried. I heard her on the phone kind of whining and crying at first about her stuffed toy being over there, but she got over it pretty quick. And so I wanted to actually reward that and be like, nope, daddy gonna come home from whatever he doing, pick you up, and we're gonna take care of that. We're gonna go save Star.
Yeah.
So it ended up working out. And Tupac loved Home Depot. He pushed the big cart. I mean, the one that you put wood on. He was pushing it all around. He's super focused. People saying hi to him. He's like,
Yeah.
still going. So
Yeah.
that was my yesterday.
Brandon, that's how he is when and we'll get off of this, y'all, and get into the show. But Tupac is the one, like when he goes to the grocery store with me, he wants to push the basket. He wants to get the items off of the shelf for me. Um, and even when I'm driving, especially in a truck, he'll say, "Grandma, my daddy's truck is bigger than yours." Yeah, so they are just Brandon. That warms my heart. I'm sitting here and I'm thinking because I'm trying to fight back the tears, and that's what I mean. Y'all have
Mm.
become such a crybaby. Like I don't even know. Like, but anyway, it's made me think about Zali, how much she's growing, and little things like that with children. You guys, it's like a validation because oftentimes we forget that they are people too, and if we had left something as an adult, if we had left something of ours, we'd go back and get it. We'd want to go back and get it, right? So we validate them and confirm that you are important as well. And it made me think about Zolly. Brandon, I don't know if you know this because I know Sella, I sent it to Sella, but I'm not sure if you were on a thread. Zolly said to me, Grandma, I don't never want you to become a great grandma. And that kind of like, and then when Sella explained to me what she probably have meant by that, and so she's processing life in a way she's experienced. We've talked about she's experienced death,
with the
and
chickens and
yeah, and
animals and stuff.
cousin Diane, I remember her asking because she heard the conversation that Sella and I was having, so she came in and she's like, "So I won't see my cousin anymore." And so Sella said what she asked you guys sometimes, and I hope this is okay, but she doesn't want you guys to grow old because she thinks if you grow old, you might die.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
So how the kids process. That's why I say it's so important that we see them as people too and validate their emotions, their feelings, and not try to bring them up where we are. Remember the story about the young boy who was in the mom thought she was doing a great thing. You know, I'm taking you, these toys are here. It's Christmas time, all these people. And he was just fussy. And when she got down to kind of, I guess, mother him, what is wrong with you? I'm here, all these toys. And she could see it from his position as a little person. All these people are walking around, there's stuff going on. And she's like, oh my God. And she took him and she left. And so often we forget that these little people still have emotions that needs to be processed. Brandon, I sent you that picture of the police officer. The little boy was laying on the floor kind of having
Oh yeah.
yeah. And the police officer just got on the floor and laid right beside him. And sometimes that's all they need is just a minute to process this big world and these big emotions. Because if we don't let them do it now, they'll be here. They'll need to be at the barbecue like we are. They will have, and they're gonna have it regardless. But when we can kind of put it in, help them put it into perspective as best we can, so they will never forget that. Brandon, bless you,
Mm,
bless you.
mm.
So let's jump right
Let's
into
jump
it.
into it, y'all. So today is I ain't gonna get it wrong this time. Day 203 of the In This Season podcast. So welcome everybody, where we are reading through Daily Motivations for African American Success, a book by Dennis Kimbro. If you don't have the book, you got to go get it. You got to go get it. It's part of the process. Us just reading it to you is one thing, but you being able to listen and read it for yourself and go back and reference is a whole nother ordeal, you know? So get that book, guys. Support this Black author. A little bit more about this book, Daily Motivations for African American Success, will help you focus on the thoughts, attitudes, and deeds that will lead to the achievement of your true goals. And 365 short, powerful motivations, one for each day of the year. Dennis Kimbro, author of the popular Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, leads us to discover how to use the present moment and our own gifts to transcend labels, cultivate a positive attitude, become wise enough to know when to say yes and when to say no, and to look inward for answers to life's challenges. Each motivation begins with words of wisdom from such distinguished and celebrated African Americans as Malcolm X, Marion Wright Elderman, Whoopi Goldberg, Charlene Hunter Galt, Bill Cosby, Carl Rowan, Mother Hale, Reverend Leon Sullivan, and hundreds of others. This treasure trove of practical inspiration will give you fresh encouragement every day of the year. What it teaches will last you a lifetime. All right. On today's August the 21st, our title is, let's see, dun, 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 a real shoe in. A real shoe in. What does that mean?
Hmm.
So, Leroy Satchel Paige, Negro League Hall of Famer, said, there ain't no man who can avoid being born average, but there ain't no reason why a man has got to be common. Said he said there ain't no man who can avoid being born average, but there ain't no reason why a man has got to be common. Right? First place doesn't go to the most talented man or woman, but the individual who believes he can succeed. A powerful idea is this: determination, drive, and a consuming desire will easily compensate for limited talent. San Francisco's Potrero Hill is still the poorest section of town. When he was born in 1947, it was a real ghetto. He was born with rickets, a poverty related disease attributed to malnutrition to a single mother. His vitamin deficient diet weakened his bones, and his legs began to bow under the weight of his body. Too poor to afford braces, his mother reversed his shoes to correct his pigeon toed condition. She then taped a metal bar across the tops of his shoes to keep his feet pointing forward. 6 years later, his bones had hardened, but his legs were permanently bowed. His playmates nicknamed him Pencil Legs. At 13, he joined a street gang, which led to a few scraps with the law. On more than one occasion, his mother had to get him out of jail. A neighbor who was watching his life spin out of control exposed him to sports, where he excelled. He ran track, played baseball, and basketball. But it was in football that he would make a name for himself. As a member of Pro Football's Hall of Fame, he rubbed shoulders with achievers from all walks of society. His name, O.J. Simpson. Although poverty and adversity pushed him at every turn, O.J. pushed back, and so can you. Who says you're not tougher, smarter, more creative, or harder working than people are willing to give you credit for? It doesn't matter what they say. What matters, the only thing that matters, is if you say it. And our inspiration and affirmation at the bottom of the page today says, I am focused. This is what we're repeating to ourselves throughout the day. I am focused. I am determined, and I will continue to push forward. I am focused. I am determined. I will continue to push forward. Over to you, Mom.
This is a good one. I like it, you guys. It made me instantly think about Rodney Jordan, who used to do the Butterfly Evolution show with me. And as he was a teacher, he's now a principal, but he told a story about a young boy who he came to realize that this young man would always act up when it was time for math. He would find a way to get in trouble.
Hmm.
I kudos to Rodney for just having the eye, right? And the concern and the love and the compassion to notice this for number one. And the boy was doing this because he did not want to be called on at math because he didn't know, he didn't feel that he knew enough about the math, and he would be embarrassed, right, if he was called upon. So of course Rodney tweaked it, made it work. Whereas someone else, another teacher, maybe in this, a neighbor who was watching his life spin out of control, someone else would have just been like continuing and sending him to the office, writing him up, rather than saying, hey, there is some consistency going on here. Every time we get to do math, this young man, he doesn't push back. I guess I would say he actually acts out.
Hmm.
So it also says here, excuse me, that this, again, the neighbor who was watching his life spin out of control exposed him to sports where he excelled. This is where it goes back to our quote. There ain't no man who can avoid being born average, but there ain't no reason why a man has got to be common. What is common? What's a common man? So it says, if you describe someone or their behavior as common, you mean that they show a lack of taste, education, and good manners. She or he might be a little common at times, but she or he was certainly not boring, right? So it's about, again, how your life. I had someone ask me last night, do you think, how can I say this without, Do you think that I'm the right person for this? And they apologized, but said, I'm sorry to have to ask, but do you think I'm the right person for this? And I waited a minute, right? Because I had to be very strategic in how I responded. And so my response was, it's not what I think. It is more about what you think. And I said, so a man thinketh dot dot dot. What do you think? That was my response. Right. So you guys, number one, and the mother, like I'm looking, oh, and this is OJ Simpson's mother, right? And the things that she did to try to correct the issue. Vitamin deficiency diet. Was somebody standing back looking at this single mother going through hell trying to survive? Because if it gets to that point, you guys,
That
where
would be hard.
that's it's bad. It's bad. So who was standing, you know, who had some shoes, right? Who was standing back but didn't take a real shoe into that situation to help this family out? But OJ pushed back. But the neighbor saw something. A neighbor stepped in. Do you step in? This one is about a lot of things. A mother who is determined, right? But how she does it, I wonder, where did that thought come from? Put the shoes on the opposite feet. Put a
Mm.
piece of metal, you know? Um, who was standing back watching it? Thank God for the neighbor who saw a young boy's life spiraling out of control, and knew that it probably had much to do with his circumstances. Yeah. Have y'all heard a young black man say, you know, I have to be out here in these streets. I got to help my mama. Have y'all heard that before?
Mm-hmm.
You know? But when he's caught and go before the courts, they don't consider that. They don't say, let's try to help this young man. In most cases, right? So a real shoe in. Brandon, I remember when I used to tell you, anybody, and Brandon always had great grades. But I remember telling him, anybody can get a C. Anybody can get a C. But who wants to go the extra? Who's gonna push back at life and get the A's and the B's? Who's gonna study a bit more? Who's gonna grow through what they're going through?
And you told me that young, I remember. I
Very
remember I
young.
was like third
Very
grade maybe.
Yeah. Anybody can get a C. Anybody.
And I'll never, I don't know why y'all, but I will never forget you telling me that. And then,
Really?
and yeah, I don't know
And you
why.
got one C and you came home
I was
like
in
you were
third
so.
grade. I was in third grade. I got a C, and I was like, "What?"
I ain't no average in a sense. Going back to this.
I could not believe it.
Yeah.
'Cause C was average, then B was good, then it said very good or excellent, depending on the year.
Hmm.
And I mean, it broke. I was crying,
Yeah.
upset, sad. But I tell you what, my mom never had to check my report card again. I remember being in high school and getting report cards, and Mom, I don't think you asked me for my report card my entire high school career. I showed them to you,
Yeah. You showed it to me. Yeah. I don't think I asked. Yeah.
but my
Yeah.
mom never was like, "Get your report card." She didn't have to worry about me, y'all.
Because it comes to a point you have to instill it in them, um, and allow them to want it. Right? They
Hmm.
have to want it. You can't. You can help them see the importance of it. And that's why when I'm at the point where with grown people, I'm just I'm just over babysitting grown people. If I'm gonna babysit emotions or help somebody, it's going to be the young kids. That's who I'm going to push, right? And it gets to a point where now, okay, here you go. You got the muscles. We've been pushing together. Now here, push your life where you want it to be. When you get stuck in those places, Come on back. I'm gonna put a shoe in for you, as
Mm-hmm.
this topic is. I'm gonna put the shoe in for you because we all get to a point where we need help, right?
Yeah.
So, Brandon, before I turn it back over to you, and I don't know why, but I just thought about this with yesterday's discussion. I did reach out to one person and I said, thank you. Thank you for what you did in my life and how you helped me to grow. Because as I thought about how often this person, and this is the person that I said helped me through a very difficult time, she was always introducing me to books and new things and getting me into, like she used to one that just out of the blue, she sent me a ticket to go see Ruby Payne. So she was helping me grow internally. She saw that thirst. She was my neighbor. She saw that thirst in my life, wanting to grow. She was the first person, well, she was the only person that said, "You are Frederick Douglass Republican." And I thought, what is that? And I went Googling and learning. I think she sent me some things. So she was pouring into me, right? Not judging me, seeing me where I was and helping me to get to where I wanted to be. Always asking me questions, always saying how proud of she was very proud of me. And it was just, it was good. So I reached out to her and her response was, Deering, and she was like, we got to get that lunch that we've been putting off, right? So she's that kind of friend where we can go and not talk and whatever. We'll check on each other every now and then. But when we do, we could sit for hours. We used to go to Shelby Farms and just sit and talk for hours. I didn't have to go to the club or actually go out to eat every time. She Shelby Farms was like going to Vegas for us. I've never been to Vegas, but it was like that. So I did reach out to my friend. I just wanted to share that because I forgot to do it earlier.
Oh, good, good, good. So you got that sun on half of you over there like an
I
eclipse,
see
huh?
it. There we go.
There we go. Oh, okay. There you go. Now I can see you better.
There we
But
go.
yeah, there you go. There you go. Now I can see your pretty face. Um, but about are you good over there on your side?
I'm good. I was
I
just
know I
checking.
know you got to get out of here around
Yeah.
7:30, so I'm not gonna be long at all. And I just one thing I noticed here is that and then also and even reading the back of this book, people's lives go up and down, right? People go in and out, they go through things and stuff like that. And as somebody who was born in 1988, a relative baby to some of you guys, uh, but my introduction, of course, right, to O.J. Simpson was most pointedly about probably the worst thing, the worst happening in his life, or the worst action potentially of his life, which was his trial, right?
Mm.
Right. I mean, when you say O.J. Simpson, so much is around that, and so it's easy to forget or to not even acknowledge, what a superstar this man was, right? In 1992, right, when this book was published. And so when I was reading through it and I saw his name there, it was almost shocking to me, like, oh wow, so you know what I mean? And so
Hmm.
it's just interesting to me to see, just how quickly things can change. There was a there's a line from a hip hop artist named Big Sean. He said, my mama said it only takes one night to mess up your whole Wikipedia. Right? It only takes one mistake to mess up your whole Wikipedia, right? But reading this about OJ Simpson gives me some perspective on his life, right? That I had not known before. It gives
Hmm.
me some context in his life, and in all honesty, it humanizes him in a degree that I don't think I gave him before. Because in entertainment, or just in the world in general, he's very much almost caricatured into his trial and the situation and all that other thing.
Yeah.
But he's bigger than that. Even as crazy as the situation is, and I don't know where people, you might stand on one side or the other side as far as the verdict, but just knowing that as a human being, he's bigger than that, than even that moment. As hard as that might be for someone else on the other side, or depending on what they think. But you hear that context of the malnutrition and things like that, and breaking through all this adversity to reach that height, but also having issues and getting involved in gangs and having to gotten out of jail. You just see, you don't just see the valleys, you also see the hills in his life. And sometimes when you just see the valley, you miss the mountain. Or if you just see the mountaintops, you miss the valleys. And I just feel like I got to know that man's situation a lot more today with this, and some of the influences that pushed him to be not only a football Hall of Famer, but what may have even led to or helped push him into some of the negative situations. But not to say that I'm not looking at OJ Simpson as the Hall of Famer. I'm also not looking at OJ Simpson as or relegating him to the man who had this infamous trial, but seeing it as the human being. Right, wrong, good, evil, up, down, black, white, whatever it is, but this dynamic human being. And in that, it shows me the absolute value of human potential. And by absolute value, you guys remember in school, in absolute value, if you had those two bars next to a number, you might have the number 3, and it'd be 2 bars and the 3. It means that it could be positive or negative. And I think we are all that, right? We have the potential to be great and to do these, what we would consider great things. And we also have the potential to be into some negative situations. Innocent, guilty or not, is probably up to perception, because none of us were there. But our potential has the same bandwidth, but could be in the opposite direction. So I just, it made me see the human and not the caricature, in a sense, and or not the bullet point of his Wikipedia. So that's all I really wanted to share on that. But also, one of the points that I hit yesterday was that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Remember yesterday we said that?
Yes.
Hard work will beat talent if talent doesn't work hard. But if talent works hard, the sky's the limit, right? So in the case of OJ Simpson, being born in Potrero Hill, to the poor section of town, where he had rickets, that poverty-related disease attributed to malnutrition, as if he was, being born in some what people would call a third world country, to a single mother, and his vitamin deficient diet weakened his bones to where his legs began to bow under the weight of his own body. And then to hear that he became, this football star. But before that, the thing that changed his life was a neighbor, was a concerned person who saw him getting involved in gang life, who saw him getting involved, going in and out of jail, and seeing his mother struggle to keep him on the right path, and to see how that changed his entire life. And despite, what happened or didn't happen, whether you think he was guilty or innocent, irregardless, dude came a long way, from that space,
Yes.
And that's between him and God, and I don't think any of us can judge. We weren't there, we don't know, right? But these are real human thoughts, and almost like a what do you call them, a moral quandary. Have you ever heard that term?
No.
You might look that up. What a moral quandary is? It's like a
Moral what?
quandary. Quandery.
You gonna ask me about no. Google.
So yeah, check if you don't
Oh,
mind.
there it
Give us
is. It comes up. It comes up when
if you'll read that definition for us.
if ever coming up with these words. Capable of right and wrong action or of being governed by a sense of right, subject to the law of duty. Does that give it
So
justice?
sort of. So a moral quandary is like it it we you almost don't know whether something is right or wrong, or uh, if the right action or whatever happened is like you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place
Hmm.
in the judgment of something based on laws, but then based on ethics, to where if you do it based on law, you could get one verdict. If you do it based on ethics, you could get another verdict. If you do it based on salvation, you get another verdict, right? So it's like a question, like quandary. You kind of get that same root um, of
Okay, I have
being
another definition that might, it says concerned with or relating to human behavior, the distinction between good and bad or right and wrong behavior. So it's like that thin line, right?
right, 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 right. And as humans, we try to pass some type of judgment naturally. To try to survive, we try to categorize things and say, okay, this is good, this is bad. But when it comes to human nature and human beings in general, oftentimes there's a lot of gray area, and there's a lot of lenses and filtering that we go through. So, even reading the back of this book, the people that are listed here, these distinguished and celebrated African Americans from Malcolm X, Marion Wright Edelman, Whoopi Goldberg, Charlene Hunter Galt, Bill Cosby, another person right there. Like any of these people you could look at from Malcolm X, he was probably one of the most hated men in America at one time, right? But then also one of the most loved people in America almost at the same time. You see what I'm saying? So like it's interesting to me how the judgments that we pass upon people and our perception of their lives um could go either way sometimes. And that I don't know, that perplexes me sometimes. But the I know you got to get up out of here, Mom. But the point of
I'm
today,
good. I always give you extra time.
nah, but the point of today is, you know, this bottom line here. It says, who says you're not tougher, smarter, more creative, or harder working than people are willing to give you credit for? It doesn't matter what quote unquote they say. What matters, the only thing that matters, is if you say it. So what's the conversation that you have with your innermost self? Do you beat yourself up? Do you chain yourself uh, by the past, or low self-esteem, or do you liberate yourself, from the limitations that other people's perception might place on you, based on what's happened to you, based on you being bow-legged like OJ was, based on you, growing up in poverty, based on you not having this attribute, or not having money, or not having an education, or not having. Can you still bake the cake of life and be missing an ingredient? Can you
Mm.
still make a Thanksgiving meal when it looks like there's nothing really in the kitchen or in the refrigerator? Can you whip it together the way my mother and Uncle Mike used to do when they were kids sometimes, right? What can you do with what you got? Because somebody could look into your fridge and be like, man, it ain't nothing in here. It ain't nothing to eat. But mom, I've seen you go into the refrigerator. I've seen you go into the refrigerator, and I promise you that fridge looked empty, y'all. And somehow she came up with, I'm talking like 5-star meal,
Mhm.
y'all. A whole meal. I'm talking about with the vegetable, with the carb, she might even, put a little dessert on there. So what can you do with what you have? Right? Some people would have looked at that and said, "Oh, we ain't got nothing to eat," and would have maybe gone hungry that night. But it's not what they say. It's about what you say. So what do you say about yourself? What do you say about the ingredients that God has given you? You know, the tools that God has put before you, the circumstances and resources that God has put before you. Because resource, if you just break it down, source, not the source. So as long as you're going back to the source, you can always get resources. You can always get resources because that's just going to the source again and again and again. All right. So what are you saying about yourself? What is your perception of yourself and your ability? Do you see the absolute value? Right. And I mean this in a mathematical term. Do you see the absolute value, the potential for both negative and positive? As bad as you think you got it, that's as good as you got it compared to someone else. Because I promise you, there is someone with less than you doing more than you're doing. Right. There's someone that might be better than you as a human being. Right. But they are doing more than you on whatever front that is. Whatever front. When I'm at training, and there's a couple of my guys on here on the Instagram from law school MMA. Some of the guys that I train with. What up, y'all? Um, but when I go to training days that I don't feel like going to training, I think about the guys on my team that don't have rides to the gym, but still make it. One of those guys over here, he was having and you know who you are, bro. At one point he had problems getting to the gym. So this man would walk or bike like 20 miles to get to the gym. And here I am. Oh man, I'm tired, man. I don't want to stop and get no gas to go to the gym. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to take the time or the inconvenience to go to the gas station before the gym. And so thinking about stuff like that makes me say, man, what am I complaining for?
Yeah.
When I got the most and might be doing the least. So it's a real shoe in, and you the one who shoe yourself in. All right. So that's all I got today, y'all. I love y'all.
So, Brandon, I'll be really quick. I'll say this and I won't get into it, but made me think about don't judge someone by their or through their worst moment or a bad decision. But how often do we do it? I'll be honest, I never knew this about OJ, but I didn't go right to his situation, right? I never really judged him through what happened because y'all, truth be told, we all could be 1 minute away. We say that we're going through something, coming out of something, or getting ready to go through something, grow through something,
Yeah.
right? One bad decision. I think about the man here who is now in jail over a parking space, right?
Hmm?
Because they somebody got there and he was waiting on it, and so he killed the man. But they said it was so out of character. And that didn't just come from that day. There was a lot of things piled up.
Man.
There was probably an inner child in there somewhere. Nobody's going to take something from me again. I'm done. And then he kills a guy, and now everybody's life is changed. His wife, his family, the person who was killed over a parking space, right? It's something Miss Erling has told me, and I've kept it with me. Sometimes you have to just see the person as the man, the young boy or the young woman, right? The young girl, where they got stuck, that inner child. We talked about that a few days ago, where some of us just need to sit down and heal the inner child. Take responsibility for healing the inner child. Where did you get stuck? Because I can't imagine the internal turmoil that OJ Simpson must have gone through, right? And if you don't grow through it, the money just makes it worse because
Mm.
then you're dependent upon the money and how the money makes you feel and what you can get with the money. You know, the girls, the cars, and all that stuff, or the guys in the cars, whatever it is. And so that becomes your foundation. But
Mm.
then when you lay down at night in the dark or look at yourself in the mirror, you still feel, right, what you see,
Mm.
right? So let's not judge people through a bad decision or a bad moment. So, a neighbor saw and acted upon. right? Rodney
Mm-hmm.
saw this young boy acting up every time they had math, and he acted on it. Wonder where OJ would have been. And it doesn't matter like where he ended up, or that decision that he made, or maybe may not, because we really don't know, right?
Right.
But where would he have been if this neighbor, what would his life would have truly looked like if this neighbor had not stepped in and introduced him to several sports? Says he played baseball, basketball, he ran track, but he found his way through football. But if he had found his way through that internal process of healing, maybe even talking about the things, because again, imagine as a child going through that, being picked on, right? And for your mom to have to put your shoes on opposite when we tell children, hey, your shoes on the wrong foot,
Mm.
right? And so, Brandon, you said, and I'll end with this. There was a passage a few days ago where it says God will give you the ingredients, the daily ingredients, but He does expect you to bake them.
Yeah.
He does expect you to bake them. So that's all I have, you guys. Hopefully, this has been helpful to you guys. Go back and do more contemplating on it. So people know. Come on, y'all. Let me read some more comments because they know. People know. If you don't know by now, you don't know me. If you don't know, it's 7:47. You're calling me. You should be listening. Anyway, we got some more comments. Cousin Marco says, blessing and favor family. Same to you, cuz I'll catch up with you sometime this week. Life's been a little busy here. Leo Barney from North Carolina says, good morning. That's good stuff right there, Brandon. Letting your kids know parents understand. Cousin
Mm.
Shasta says, good morning. Cousin Tracy Salter says, good morning, fam. Hey, the fam is coming in and showing out this morning. Thank y'all. What a
Mm.
blessing. What a blessing. So that's all I have. Anything from Instagram, Brandon?
No, we had some people watching in, but not a whole lot of comments or anything like that.
Yeah, the guys are different. That y'all just sit back
Yeah,
and
yeah,
just
yeah,
take it all in. We the
yeah,
ones
yeah.
see purple and light blue and magenta.
Yo, I told some of the guys that are in here, I told them that story yesterday.
Yeah,
I told them that same story at the gym.
yeah,
That men, they did that study. I think I told y'all this yesterday, that men, they did a study with men and women and showed them, different colors. And all the men only chose like 8 or 9 different colors, black, white, blue, green, yellow, orange, purple. But the women were like dark blue, baby blue, magenta, royal blue. Like they had like 12 different blues when they were shown, but they could show
yeah.
the men 2 different blue colors and they would say, nah, that's blue. Oh yeah, that's blue too. Yeah, that's blue too. You know what I mean? So the way that we see and disseminate information and filter information and perceive and even express it is very different between the masculine and the feminine.
Mm.
Not there are outliers, of course, but in general, men see it very cut dry and literal, and women see things very dynamically and figurative, right?
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
and I'm not saying one's better than the other, but I think we both need each other for a balanced approach to life. So I think men need women and women need men. I know sisters, some of y'all are probably upset at us, and brothers, we might be a little sick. Some of the brothers might be a little sick of some women, but I'm telling you, we cannot do without you. We were created for one another. So let's get
There's
on with
a
the good
natural
name.
order that's out of order.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah, yeah.
natural order that's certainly out of order, and we are feeling the effects of it in our family dynamics and relationships, and as we relate to or try to connect and relate to each other.
That's right.
Boy, we start there, Brandon. We'll take it to a
I know that's what I was thinking. I was like,
another
let me
level.
let
Let
me
me
jump in
stop
real
right
quick.
there. Yeah, just stop
Well,
me right there. All
all
right.
right, y'all. Well, this is day 203 of the In This Season podcast. If you're watching on Instagram Live or Facebook Live, please take some time at some point. Right now is probably the best time to go over to YouTube and type In This Season podcast. Please like this show and any others that you've seen, or all of them if you can, and subscribe to the channel and turn on those notifications so that you don't have to sit there and look for us in the morning. You'll know exactly when we are going live to bring you this good conversation, this good affirmation, and this good motivation for daily success. So thank y'all so much for joining us today and involving us in your morning routine. We appreciate it. We're grateful to it. Invite others to this virtual cookout. And until tomorrow at the same time, same place, we will see you later. So what I would do is to read this affirmation one time and we'll get on out of here. The affirmation for today is I am focused, I am determined, and I will continue to push forward. Again, I am focused, I am determined, and I will continue to push forward. Y'all keep on pushing. Today's title, A Real Shoe In. Peace.
All right.